My name is Allison Adams, and I'm going to be talking about the topic of bloat in cattle. So, to understand bloat in cattle, first we have to understand the ruminant digestive system. So, as we all know, cattle are ruminant animals, and this means that they have a unique component within their digestive tract known as the rumen. The rumen allows them to digest and utilize feedstuffs that monogastric animals cannot. This rumen is home to billions of microbes that break down feedstuffs and plant matter within the rumen by the process of fermentation. Fermentation provides the animal with energy and nutrients, but at the same time also produces byproducts of carbon dioxide and methane gases. So, under normal circumstances, the cattle are able to eructate these gases out of the rumen, and then the digestion process continues. So, what is bloat? So, bloat occurs when a buildup of excess gas is unable to exit the rumen. The gas buildup causes the rumen to expand and it starts to press up against the diaphragm in the lungs, which can then lead to respiratory distress, collapse, or even death by asphyxiation. Bloat actually has seasonal peaks in the autumn and the spring, and these correlate with an increase in lush grasses and legumes. Um, and there are two types of bloat, one being frothy and the other is known as gassy. So, frothy bloat is the most common type of bloat. And in some cases, up to 20% of herds can have this kind of bloat. This type of bloat is caused by a buildup of a foam, sort of, in the rumen that traps gases beneath the foam. And this is similar to the head of foam in a beer. Frothy bloat is a very common reaction when cattle are feeding on lush green pasture and legumes, specifically clover. This is because legumes increase the rate of breakdown and fermentation by the microbes that are inside of the rumen, which rapidly increases the production of gas simultaneously. And so oftentimes this gas production can occur a lot faster than they are able to expel the gas out of their body, and this is what leads to the bloat. Cattle and feedlots are also susceptible to bloat, and that would be due to processing issues within their grains. So they're fed a more high grain diet than a cattle who is in the pasture is, and if these diets are not formulated exactly correctly or grind really fine, they can be having the same issue because their microbes are breaking down those nutrients much faster and producing more gases than they're able to expel at the same time. The next kind of bloat is gassy bloat, and this is less common and usually sporadic. This occurs when the gas physically cannot be eructed due to an obstruction. So some obstructions might be foreign bodies, tumors, or abscesses within the digestive tract that are blocking the exit path for this gas to get out. Also, the cow's posture can play a role in preventing the gas from exiting the rumen. Sometimes if the cow is laying down in a certain way, this can block off or cause a little bit of a blockade that prevents that gas from exiting. Also, conditions like pneumonia or hardware disease or acidosis, which is a change in the pH within the rumen, can impact normal rumen contractions because those conditions would damage the vagus nerve, and that would ultimately impact motility. And so this can be another cause of gassy bloat. So, what are the signs of bloat in cattle? So, unfortunately, a lot of times the first sign is sudden death, and this can occur just in as fast as 15 minutes. So, sometimes death is the first sign, but other signs might be if they have difficulty breathing, restlessness, discomfort, bellowing, staggering, distension of the left side of their abdomen, which is where their rumen is, or a reduced appetite or reduced milk production. all of these things can be potential signs to look out for. So, as far as treatment goes, it's much better to prevent or try to prevent bloat than it is to have to treat it. But there are a few things that we can do. So, for frothy bloat, anti-foaming agents can be given, and these can be given in preparation as well, or as preventions as well as treatment. And so an anti-foaming agent would be something that they would ingest, and it would work to try to resolve the foam and thus release the gas. And then for gassy bloat, a lot of times surgical intervention is required, such as tubing. On the bottom right-hand corner, you can see that cow's being tubed. And then also surgical trocar and cannula insertion into the rumen on the left side. On the top right hand of the screen over here, you can see where they're doing that cannula insertion, and so that would enter the rumen and allow that gas to escape through the hole. But it is better, like I said, to prevent than have to treat. In some mild cases, gentle exercise can resolve this, but a lot of times these more extreme measures are required. So for prevention, producers should avoid sudden changes in the diet of their herd, especially when introducing them to legumes or high grain feeds or very luscious pastures. And then if they are introduced to these feedstuffs, then they should be monitored. And sometimes you can replace legumes such as clover with others such as sanifoin or bird's foot trefoil. And then they can be supplemented with ionophores and condensed tannins. This is supposed to help reduce the risk of bloat. You can also alternate turnout with buffer feedings, so sort of put them on a drier and more stable diet and alternate that with the turnout in a more lush pasture. It's also important to try to avoid starting them grazing in a high-risk pasture if that pasture is wet. And this is because the moisture on the grass can play a role in increasing that digestion rate, and also allows them to eat more of it. So a higher intake and higher digestion and fermentation rate greatly increases their gas productions. Another prevention strategy would be to administer the anti-foaming agents daily, even if they're not in active bloat, just sort of as a preventative. Or you can even spray the grass with anti-foaming oils and allow them to graze on this, and that would cut down some of the labor costs involved. So overall, bloat is very common and can be very dangerous, but if the right preventative measures are taken and the cattle are observed frequently, we can do what we can to try to minimize the cases of this. That is all. Thank you.